Hey gang, today we find ourselves in Amesbury, Massachusetts on a beautiful fall early morning, and we're at Mount Prospect Cemetery here, and we're going to be walking to a very intriguing mausoleum. Well, at least the story behind it is intriguing. Reuben John Smith, who came here in 1867 from Buffalo, New York, here to Amesbury. And he was just a regular guy here, but he did something that was pretty irregular in death. So let's take a walk to his mausoleum. I'll tell you the story, and we've got a newspaper account too of what this man did, which was quite exceptional. Beautiful old cemetery here. The fall colors. Yeah, so Reuben John Smith was not a wealthy guy. He lived on Main Street in a boarding house, and he would just sit there every day and read the evening paper. You think the morning paper, but I guess in those days it was the evening paper when the papers would come out. But that's really all people knew about him, not that much. There was nothing eccentric about him, except when he died. It was the unusual and expensive way that he would memorialize himself, I guess, here at Mount Prospect Street Cemetery. And when he did, it would bring a lot of people here. Reporters actually came from all parts of Massachusetts and farther to see this site that we're going to see, this mausoleum. He had this, it says, a marble sarcophagus made that they put him inside this mausoleum, and he's in there supposedly sitting in an iron chair, a custom-made iron, well, some articles say it's walnut iron, but he's there with a table with his pipe and his checkerboard. Now, we're not going to be able to go inside, but you'll have to imagine. But it's an interesting story with, I guess, a few little twists to it. They said that he would read his newspaper in the evening, so he also had that newspaper in there with the checkerboard. He was sporting a fine black suit. He had a felt hat, and they say that more than 2,000 people came here because he wanted to be seen before he was entombed in this mausoleum that we're going to see. So they say that his embalmed body was transported in his chair from his second floor boarding house there on Main Street. It was placed on an express wagon drawn by two black horses. And the horses and wagon paraded down the main streets on the way here to the cemetery. He wanted to make quite a spectacle. He did. That was in his will. He wanted people to see him, his body, his embalmed body, sitting in the chair. There was no hiding that. And the people testified, they said from the records, that he looked quite natural. That was the quote. After the last funeral attendee viewed his corpse here sitting in his chair, they closed the iron doors of the tomb. And by the way, the doors aren't there anymore, but I guess at the time there were. And they shut the tomb, and the key to the tomb, under Reuben's orders, was destroyed. And yes, it is Halloween. coming right up here in Amesbury, Massachusetts. I'm here doing some stories in Rhode Island. I'm going to be lecturing here at a group discussion, I'm not sure how, at Lincoln, Rhode Island. So just shout out here for a couple of days, and I really wanted to see this. Shout out to Kimberly, who used to be one of our mods. She came up with that Indiana story of, I think it was Willard sitting in his chair. I guess there were a number of people that men, mostly that are men, except that wanted to do this. Maybe it was the thing in the 1800s. I don't know. But thanks, Kimberly. Kimberly is on top of these stories, so if you got any more, let us know. I've got some newspaper articles of the time that talk about this, can get a little more information. And there, again, like I said, there's these twists. The one article said, Massachusetts has produced a good many peculiar freaks, both social and political, but the state's latest and most unique achievement is a mortuary freak in the late Reuben J. Smith, age 71, whose will provides that his body shall be placed in an iron chair set in his tomb, the door of which shall be securely locked and the key destroyed. Reuben arranged every detail. He purchased his grave lot here in July of 1898, so that would have been a year or so before he died. He must have known. He paid $40. Say that Charles Davis of Patent Hollow Marble and Granite Works provided the materials to build the tomb, which we'll see. The marble was ordered from Vermont Marble Company and came from Rutland, Vermont. A lot of stone produced in Vermont. William Clark, who was a mason here at the time, was hired the builder, and the floor was laid by Portland Cement Company. So it does have a concrete floor. Look at the flowers here. And that looks like a rose bush, huh? Beautiful. Harrison Austin was hired as the undertaker. And there was a Reverend Joseph Lambert who was chosen to preside over the burial service here. Again, it reiterates Reuben purchased his burial chair from Ralph Bailey's store in Amesbury here, and his new black suit from the Nathan Emery Collins clothing store. He made David Longfellow Bartlett his executor and set aside $500 in an account at the Providence Institute for savings to maintain his Grace site. And he also set aside a hefty amount of money for any female, any woman who would come here. And I guess the key wasn't destroyed, because the idea was that they would sit with him all night in the mausoleum, which is right up here, and just stay with him all night in his chair. Could you imagine? Who could do that, even by today's standards? No woman stepped forward. Not surprisingly. Well, you never know. There's a lot of enterprising people back then. I wonder how much money he set aside. So it says, it continues on, that the drama did not end once Reuben was locked away for eternity. The mystery grew with his will, as seen below from a Boston Herald newspaper clipping. The will of the eccentric man stated, Reuben made no mention of a next of kin and bequeathed a mere 5 cents to Amesbury merchant Charles Washington Sawyer, and it became known as the 5-cent legacy here in these parts. I guess it says here that the merchant and Mr. Smith had quarreled many years before, and they never spoke to each other again. At the bequest of 5 cents was left to show that Mr. Smith entertained no hard feeling against the merchant at the time of his death. Although, I think that was probably more of an insult, right? Hard to say. Well, there's the mausoleum right up there. Let's go take a look. So yeah, he really loved his papers, his newspapers, and I guess that we'll talk about it, there's a legend about a newspaper boy. They used to come here, again, the evening paper. He would bring the evening paper here to the mausoleum every night. And I'll tell you what happened when the newspaper boy would come. So there it is, guys. Reuben J. Smith is in there, sitting in the iron chair in a marble sarcophagus. And it is, well, a lot of stonework, and it looks like a lot of repairs. And I do see an opening, but that you cannot, I did come and check it out, and there's no openings to get a snake camera in there, I'm pretty sure, although I didn't see this one. Let me just take a quick look. Let's focus this in. Oh, that might, little too tight, guys. That almost makes it, maybe in a few years, be able to see in there. Reuben. Now, I believe that, we saw around the other side, there was no opening, no door. Same here, but I'm guessing because this is where his name, and that's marble. I'm betting that the iron door was here, and there might have been vandals here, and I sealed it up. There's a big crack running down the middle. Yeah, too small. Let's just make another inspection here, see if there's anywhere that we can get our little snake camera in. Oh, look at this. Now it's got a concrete floor in there. Let's take a look here. I didn't notice this either. Looks like an animal is burrowed in there. Let's see if we can get an angle. Well, let's see here. We're gonna have to, let me put the camera down and I'll take a closer look. Nope. It is all filled in, unfortunately. No go there. What a morbid guy you are, Ron. Hey, I want to see inside. If you don't like it, don't watch. But I don't think we're going to be able to get in here. Let's see what we got over here. Let's double check. That's pretty solid. I think the best bet is going to be this little crack up here. Right here. someday. Yeah. But not today. Maybe when that crack gets bigger, I'm sure someone's going to fill it in. And that's probably good. What do you think he looks like in there, guys? Well, if he's in an iron chair, the iron chair is still there. Pile of bones, pile of junk, probably. Checkerboard tables probably wasted away to nothing. But I'm sure, you know, if there's a table and there's an iron chair, it would be really cool to see it. I don't know, maybe someone from our channel will come out here with a snake camera and give that a try at some point. I have to be honest, I don't have my snake camera with me, and that hole, I think it can be done. Anybody up for it? Before they seal that up, whoever watches this, the cemetery. But yeah, there you go. So, but the newspaper boy would come here every night, and he would deliver the paper right through what was the iron doors here. And they said that Reuben would reach out, grab it, and they could hear him laughing from in town.